And it is said if somebody is very tall, they're generally from earlier, better ages, Satya Yuga. So Buddhimanta Prabhu is clearly from that age, of Satya Yuga. He's coming here to finish his cycle of birth and death. How tall are you, Prabhuji? You are 7 feet, 6.5, 7, or more than 7? Your voice is your microphone is off, Prabhu. You need to switch on the microphone. We can't hear you. No, it's okay.
Okay. No, I'm just a infinitesimal spirit spark, Prabhu. Tiny.
Well, I can tell you, he's about 7 feet, 6.5, 7 feet. And with that is just a physical trait. With that, Buddhimanta Prabhu also attracts many devotees with his very wonderful prasadam distribution program that he conducts. And single-handedly, he started off this particular in Northland in Fangarai, the prasadam distribution, and which has grown manyfold. There are so many thousands of children in Northland who are getting free food for Krishna prasadam food, prasadam. And he does all this in sponsored, king distributing. So much so that even the local mayors, all the business chambers of commerce in that area, they all know him, recognize him, And if you see, all this started, I know how it started. I was there. I've seen him, that growth. And with sincerity, and he's dedicated to Srila Prabhupada. And with the Jagannath deities that he has, Jagannath, Baladev, Subhadra. So they're guiding him. He's very nicely situated. With his family, he's staying in Fangarai with his children in a very responsible manner. And that is what attracts me about him. And very nice devotee, humble, straightforward person. And so without taking much time, I would like to invite Buddhimanta Prabhu, who is going to speak today, what is humility. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. The floor is all yours. And you just indicate to me which, if you can show your screen, otherwise I can, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you very much, Ambarish Prabhu, for your very kind words, and for this opportunity to actually to get the association of all the devotees, and to share something from the words of the acharyas with everybody. One thing I have learned over the years of practicing Krishna consciousness is that we're very much, to make any advancement or any progress, we're very much dependent and at the mercy of association of devotees, dependent and at the mercy of the spiritual master, of Guru, and dependent and at the mercy of Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas. So I feel very fortunate to have the association here of everybody, and I feel a little unqualified to speak, but I will do my best. We're limited for time, but I would like to start by first of all offering my obeisances to Srila Prabhupada and to the previous acharyas, and to beg for their mercy and for their guidance, so that I can speak a few words. Amangyan Tamarandasya Gyananjana Shilakaya Chakshua Amalitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. I was going to sing a bhajan, which is in glorification of the Vaishnava, but perhaps it's a little awkward on Zoom with the sound and things, or not?
No, perfect. You can sing, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
So this some of you will be familiar with this bhajan from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. The subject of humility can be understood from the lives of the acharyas. when you see their life, when you read their personal writings about not so much the philosophy that they present, but when they reveal their heart, you can understand what is the proper mood of humility and why it is such an important aspect of devotional life. So this particular, there was 2 or 3 bhajans I had in mind, all from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Also, actually, any of the acharyas, they all have a mood of feeling dependent on the Lord, depending on the mercy of the Lord, and feeling insignificant and unworthy. This particular bhajan I really like because there is that mood, but he's understanding that actually he's presenting to us conditioned souls that actually we can't make any progress without the mercy of the Vaishnava. So this is the theme of my presentation. I've broken up humility into what is humility, what are the benefits of humility, what are the results of humility, and how to practice humility in our everyday lives and why it's important. And the ultimate conclusion of all this is that service to the Vaishnava, service to the devotee, service to Guru, and ultimately service to Krishna and Radha is both the means and the goal to the means. The goal and the means to the goal is service to the Vaishnava. So I will sing the song and then you're all familiar with Ohe Vaishnav Thakur? Actually, I don't think I have the words. I didn't send you the words for that. I didn't send you the words for Ohe Vaishnav Thakur.
I can find out, Prabhuji, no problem. You can search me. I will share this screen also, no problem.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. 1 second, Prabhuji.
Ohe Vaishnava Thakur Doyara Sagara Dasa Karuna Kori Ohe Vaishnava Thakur Doyara Sagara Dasa Karuna Kori Iya pada chaya sodo he amaya tomara charana dori Iya pada chaya sodo he amaya tomara amsara dori chaya begadomi Jaya dosha sodi, Jaya guna deho dasi, Jaya begadomi, Jaya dosha sodi, Jaya guna deho dasi, Jaya satsanga, deho he amare, Gosheti Sangera Ase Jaya Satsanga Teho He Amara Gosheti Sangera Ase Ekaki Amara Nahipaya Bala Harina Sankirtan Ekaki amara, nahipaya bala, hari Tumi kripa kori, Radha bindu diya, Deho Krishna Dhami. Tumi kripa kori, Radha bindu diya, Deho Krishna Namadani. Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite taro, tomara sakati ate. Krishna se tomara, Krishna dite taro, tomara sakati ate. Ami tu tangala, Krishna Krishna boli, jai tava pache pache. Ami tu kangala, Krishna Krishna boli, jai tava pache pache. Oh hey Vaishnava Thakur, Goyara Sagara, Vedase Karuna. Ohe Vaishnava Thakura, Goyara Sagara, Vedase Karuna. Vaishnava Thakur ki jai. O Venerable Vaishnav, devotee of Krishna, O ocean of mercy, be merciful unto your servant. Give me the shade of your feet, of your lotus feet. Your feet I humbly hold. I hold on to your feet. Teach me to control my six passions. The six passions are those of those of speech, the mind, anger, the tongue, the belly, and the genitals. So he's pleading the Vaishnav. He knows, I cannot control these things. Please, Vaishnav, you control them for me. I'm unable to do these things. Please purify me of the six faults. The six faults are overeating, collecting more money than is required, over-endeavoring for material objectives, unnecessarily talking about mundane affairs, being too attached or too neglectful of scriptural rules and regulations, associating with worldly minded people, and lusting after mundane achievements. So he's imploring the Vaishnav, the devotee, to purify him of these six faults. And please give to your servant the six good qualities. And six good qualities are enthusiasm, patience, confidence, the determination to perform activities favorable to devotional service, and the resolution to abandon the association of non-devotees, and the discipline required to always follow in the footsteps of predecessor acharyas. So everything is here in the song. Oh, give me the six kinds of holy association. The six association to go to an assembly of devotees, to invite devotees into one's home, to discuss and hear devotional topics, to take Mahaprasad of devotees, and to offer Mahaprasad to devotees. So I have sat down here in the hope of having your company. So we're all in the situation that we desire the association of devotees. Because without the association of devotees, we cannot actually make tangible progress. The third verse, I do not find the strength to carry on alone the Sankirtan of the holy name of Hare. Please bless me by giving me just a drop of faith with which to obtain the great treasure of the holy name of Krishna. Krishna is yours, you have the power to give him to me. I am simply your servant running behind you, shouting, Krishna, Krishna. So this is a very, very sweet song, a very powerful song, and a very instructional song. And I could speak a lot about this particular song, but I'll just relate it to the subject of humility, that this mood that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is sharing with us of his deep feeling of dependence on the mercy of the devotee. This is real. This is a state of the heart. It's not an artificial feeling. It's actually a reality that he is feeling completely dependent upon the devotee. he's not feeling that he is a devotee, that he has any qualification. He's feeling that he is helpless, insignificant, and he needs the mercy of the devotee to actually purify him of the faults, to control all these urges that he has. So this is a very good instruction for us to understand that we can't, with our own strength, of sadhana, with our own strength of, of practice, we cannot achieve the goal of that we're seeking, of being 100% purified and fully conscious of Krishna, because we won't. The danger is that we can become proud, and this is the enemy of humility. So I'll carry on. So what is humility? There are a few definitions I'd like to share. One is from the Webster's Dictionary. The definition is the freedom from pride or arrogance. So we all have experienced other people's pride, and we can recognize it in other people, but we have to recognize it within ourselves also. And we have to think we can be proud of things, and we're encouraged. This is the problem in the modern society, in the Western society, that we're all encouraged. Maybe it's different in Indian culture, but I know within Western culture, everyone is encouraged. The children are always encouraged. Yes, you can be great. You are great. You are beautiful. You are wonderful. And this is, the idea is that you're encouraging good self-esteem and things like this. But the danger is that pride enters in, that we think we are something more than what we are, and then arrogance comes in. So humility is freedom from these things of pride and arrogance. The Collins Dictionary describes it as someone who is not proud and does not believe that they are better than other people. So the nature of the conditioned mind is that they will judge. You'll see something, this is good, this is bad. This is a good thing, this is a bad thing. This is a good activity, this is a bad activity. And then with people also, this is, they're a bad person, he's a good person. So we get instruction from Bhagavad Gita that the humble sage, he will see equally the dog eater and the brahmana. How can that be? How can the person who eats the dog be seen equally to the brahmana who is engaged in religious activity and doing so many pious things? So anybody like to offer how they can see that equally and not discriminate? So the understanding is that they're seeing the soul, the spirit soul within the body. The spirit soul within all bodies is equal. We're all part and parcel of Krishna. So there's no differentiation. There's no higher or lower. Of course, externally, there is some discrimination. But the actual truth, the actual reality is that everybody is a spirit soul. Everybody is an eternal servant of Krishna. People have different degrees of covering, different degrees of conditioning. So these are the definitions from the mundane dictionaries. Prabhupada gives a definition of humility in the 13th chapter, text 8. If we can bring, if you could bring that up, or else I can try and bring it up here. Let's see if I can open this up. And if I can, how do I share my screen? Or I've lost it now. I don't know how to share my screen. Now I've lost you.
One second. Hold on. What happened there? Okay.
I don't know where I don't know what's happened here.
Okay, hold on, please. I'll just try.
Yeah, I'm back, but I'm not sure.
Now you can try screen sharing, Prabhuji. There should be a screen share button on the top.
Yeah, I'll just have to move that up.
Click on it.
Screen share, then I'll have to get back into my email again. I've lost it. So.
Whichever you want to share, I can open it for you.
Okay, it's that Bhagavad Gita 13:8.
Okay, hold on, please.
This gives us a definition of humility and explains this verse is what Lord Krishna describes as being knowledge. So it's a natural thing for human beings that they're wanting knowledge of anything. You know, you have a quest for knowledge and your interest in things. So these are the things that Lord Krishna says, this is knowledge, and anything outside of this is here we are. Thank you. So amanvitam, this is the Sanskrit word for humility, amanvitam. So this is a lot of Sanskrit here, which describes all the aspects of knowledge. Can we scroll down, Prabhu? And I'll scroll down. I won't. There. Amanvitam is humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, etc. Let's go down to the translation. Here we are. So humility, this is what Lord Krishna has described as being knowledge. Humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, approaching a bona fide spiritual master, cleanliness, steadiness and self-control, renunciation of the objects of sense gratification, absence of false ego, the perception of the evil of birth, death, old age and disease, non-attachment to children, wife, home and the rest, and even-mindedness amid pleasant and unpleasant events, constant and unalloyed devotion to me, resorting to solitary places, detachment from the general mass of people, accepting the importance of self-realization and philosophical search for the absolute truth. All these I thus declare to be knowledge, and what is contrary to these is ignorance. All right, so in relation to the subject that we're discussing tonight, this is a very, very, very important verse, because the very first quality, the very first aspect of knowledge is amanvitam, humility. And it's said that humility is the gateway or the door which opens to wisdom. So without humility, all the other qualities cannot bring you the result of wisdom and knowledge. Humility is the pre-runner for all the others, and in fact, with humility, all the others are actually contained in there, and I'll explain that a little bit later on as to how the cultivation of the quality of humility. We can go to the purport, Prabhu. There's a little bit of the purport I'd like to read. I'll read a little bit of this purport. If we go down a little bit. So just halfway down, of all the descriptions of the process of knowledge, the most important point is described in the first line of the 10th verse. The process of knowledge terminates in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. So that's an important statement as well, that knowledge, the end of all knowledge, the end result of all knowledge results in unalloyed devotional service to the Lord. So if one does not approach or is not able to approach the transcendental service of the Lord, then the other 19 items are of no particular value. This is the end of the purport, I think, is it? No, after this, okay. Full Krishna, the other 19 automatically develop. So if you take to devotional service, these qualities will automatically develop. The principle of accepting a spiritual master, as mentioned in the 7th verse, is essential. Even for one who takes to devotional service, it is most important. Transcendental life begins when one accepts a bona fide spiritual master. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, clearly states here that this process of knowledge is the actual path. Anything speculated beyond this is nonsense. So we're very fortunate that we have come in contact with Srila Prabhupada. I will read a bit more from this purport. But Srila Prabhupada is undoubtedly a bona fide spiritual master, a pure Vaishnava devotee of the Lord, fully purified and fully able to deliver the conditioned souls. So by following his instructions and following his guidance, reading his books, chanting Hare Krishna, serving the devotees, you're definitely rightly situated according to Bhagavad Gita and according to the Acharyas. As for the knowledge outlined here, the items may be analyzed as follows. Humility means, this is Prabhupada's definition of humility now. Humility means that one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honored by others. The material conception of life makes us very eager to receive honor from others, but from the point of view of a man in perfect knowledge, who knows that he is not this body, anything, honor or dishonor, pertaining to this body is useless. One should not be hankering after this material deception, he calls it, the deception of being honored. So this point of being honored it fans the ego. In fact, all the things that relate to pride, they all fan the ego. Honor, respect, fame, power, prestige, having followers, having control, thinking I'm the doer, thinking I'm the controller. All these things are related to the ego. And of course, we know from our understandings from Bhagavad Gita that we are not our bodies, we are spirit souls. So they don't actually satisfy us at all. If we actually act from the platform of a spirit soul, who are we? We are eternal servants of Krishna. We are dependent on Krishna for everything. So I have this discussion with my children quite often because children become sometimes very possessive. This is mine. This is mine, and I this and I that. The children by nature are selfish. Right from a baby, they're all like me, 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 me. And so I have this discussion with them. I say, this is mine. I say, well, did you? And we can even think with ourselves too. Well, this is my car, or this is my house. And you can think, well, did you make the car? No, but I bought the car. Well, did you you earned some money through your work, but did you make your body so that you could do the work? Well, no, but my parents made the body. Yes, but where did you get the intelligence from to do the work, to get the money, to buy the car? And if you keep analyzing everything back, ultimately you have to conclude, my intelligence I got from Krishna. My body I got from Krishna. My situation, everything is I have received by the mercy of the Lord, because he can take it away in an instant. I can lose my job, I can lose my health, I can lose my vision, I can lose my health, I can lose everything. So we are basically all the time dependent for everything on Krishna. So this should make us very humble. When you're dependent on someone, you should be very grateful. This mood of gratitude. We're grateful, for the sun. We're grateful for the rain. We're grateful for so many things, that we can. And this is a precursor for humility. It's contained within humility is gratitude. So these are some of the things that we can think about. And if we find ourselves being very pleased when someone glorifies us, or very pleased when we're expecting some honor and respect, then we should look at this and think, actually, this is destructive for my creeper of devotion. I should be, when we hear, I have some quotes here. This is one of the best ways to understand the correct mood is to look at the lives of Srila Prabhupada and the Acharyas. So it's good. So I'll just read a few quotes here from Prabhupada to give you something to meditate upon about the quality of humility. He said, this is from, I think these are here also. We can, or I can read them, or you can put them up. I think Prabhupada's Humility, it's called. Although my Guru Maharaj ordered me to accomplish this mission, I am not worthy or fit to do it. This is Srila Prabhupada speaking. He's saying he's not worthy to do it. I'm very fallen and insignificant. Therefore, O Lord, now I am begging for your mercy so that I may become worthy, for you are the wisest and most experienced of all. So you imagine you've done something incredible. You've created something amazing, and people are saying, wow, you are great. You've done such a big thing. You're so empowered. You're incredible. Prabhupada is saying, I'm not worthy to do this. I'm fallen and insignificant. And now I'm begging your mercy so that I may become worthy, for you are wise and experienced. He's understanding I can't do anything without the mercy of the Lord. So this is, he wrote this on his way to America. Let's go to the next one, Prabhu. This is another one from a letter he wrote, 1969. I'm just trying to disseminate this message of my spiritual master. And if there's any credit for this service, everything goes to him. This is the mood of a Vaishnava. And this is an interesting point. You can say, how is it that you can be humble and cultivate the mood of humility in the association of devotees when everyone is calling you Prabhu? Oh, Prabhu, they're calling you Master. And then also, devotees' nature is that they will glorify devotees. So you're always being glorified. People are calling you Prabhu. So how can you cultivate humility if you were in a situation where nobody recognized you and nobody glorified you and nobody gave you any respect? Then it's much easier. You could say much easier to be humble. But actually, real humility is when these honors are given, immediately the mind gives them to spiritual master, passes them on. I'm not receiving them. This is any credit is due to the mercy of the spiritual master. This is the proper mood. When someone is calling you Prabhu, you pass that. You're calling me master. I'm passing that on to my master. And in fact, there's a really nice quote further down from Prabhupada where he addresses all his disciples as being his master. So this is the mood of a Vaishnava. He sees everybody as being more advanced, and I'll explain a little bit more about that in a minute. Here's another quote. Actually, whatever is happening, it is due to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, because personally, I am completely incapable. So, yeah, again, another example where he's feeling helpless and incapable and only able to do anything due to the mercy of his Guru. Okay, another one here. Go further down. Practically, there is no credit for me. If there's any credit, it goes to my spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Goswami Prabhupada, who is helping me by sending me good souls like you in this movement. Whatever is being done, it is due to his divine grace only. So my business is just to carry out his order. That is the way of disciplic succession. And as you all have come to help me, if you also follow the same principles in a combined effort to serve Lord Krishna, will be surely successful. Okay, next one. This is the one. And because you are already acquainted with Krishna, I have no objection to accepting you as my disciple. Practically, I do not have any disciples. I select so many masters to train them in the service of the Lord. Your natural attraction for Krishna makes it show that in your previous birth you have cultured this science of Krishna consciousness. So he's glorifying his disciples. He's putting them on the pedestal to say, actually, I've selected my masters to train them to serve the Lord. So he's oftentimes he would glorify his disciples and give them much praise because of their sincerity. And well, last one, I think, from my personal point of view, I think that I am so sinful that I cannot even approach Krishna to show me any favor. Imagine Prabhupada thinking that he is so sinful. I mean, we cannot imagine that we can't see him like that, but he sees himself like that. I have only one hope, my spiritual master. He is very kind. So somewhere or other, he is dragging me towards Krishna. That is the only hope. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita says, therefore, Guru Krishna, by the mercy of the spiritual master and by the mercy of Krishna, one gets into Krishna consciousness. Narada Muni is our original spiritual master, and he has dragged so many fallen souls towards Krishna, and we're also hoping to be dragged by him through the disciplic succession. Otherwise, if we study our own qualifications, there is none. Rather, I have got so many disqualifications. Okay, so this point of thinking, this is nice too, this last one, sorry. A devotee says, you must be higher than the Paramahamsa stage, Prabhupada. And Prabhupada says, no, I am lower than you. I am lower than you. And devotee says, but you are so beautiful, you are Paramahamsa, but still you are preaching to us. Just go up. No, I am lower than you. I am the lowest of all creatures. I am simply trying to execute the order of my spiritual master, that's all. That should be the business of everyone. Try your best. Try your best to execute the higher order. That is the safest way of progressing. One may be in the lower stage, but if he tries to execute the duty entrusted upon him, he is perfect. He may be in lower stage, but because he is trying to execute the duty entrusted to him, then he is perfect. That is the consideration. So Prabhupada, he was the personification of humility and was always giving respect to others and always, whatever respect or honor he was given, he would always pass it on to his spiritual master. So this is a very important point, and it points out his glory as a pure devotee to have that mood. And he was accepting the role of teacher and guru to train people because his spiritual master had asked him to, not because he wanted followers, not because he wanted to be a important, influential person. No, he didn't feel qualified to do anything, but his spiritual master had asked him to, so he was trying to do something to please him. So this point of humility, there's some. Once Lord Chaitanya himself speaks about humility in his Shastakam verse. Some of you may be familiar with it. Trinadapi, Sanichana, Sataropi, Sahishnuna, Amanina, Manadina, Kirtanaya, Sada Hari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street, and should be ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So this is another very clear instruction that that the quality of humility is essential for, we've already discussed, it's an essential prerequisite for knowledge. And again, the verse in the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Tadvadi Pranipatena, you cannot approach the one should approach the spiritual master in a submissive mood of inquiry. So you cannot be submissive without humility. If you're proud, you cannot be submissive. So the prerequisite for material knowledge, and particularly for spiritual knowledge, is humility. And so within humility, there is tolerance. If you're humble, if you think that you are dependent on the Lord for everything, that the Lord is your well-wishing friend, whatever situation you're in is beneficial for you, then there's no problem. There's no problem at all. I made when preparing for this little presentation, I thought, well, like anything, people want to know what's in it for me. What's in it for me? So I made a little list of what happens when the quality of humility is cultivated. And well, first of all, I've got a list here of our from humility within humility comes tolerance. Don't forget, Prabhupada's definition of humility is that we're not anxious to seek honor from others. Okay? We accept that we are tiny, we're fully dependent, we have nothing, we come into the world with nothing, we leave with nothing. It's only in between times we think we have something. But actually, the reality is we don't have anything, we don't own anything. Krishna the Lord is the proprietor of everything. He gives us some things to use, but we don't own them. We didn't create them. So we have nothing. And on top of that, this is our motivation and the reality of our position, so that we can accept this and realize, actually, yes, we've got a lot to be grateful for and a lot to be humble about, because for a start, we have 4 faults. We have the faults of being prone to being illusioned. We have the fault of cheating others, not being 100% truthful. That's the fault that all humans have. They have a tendency to twist things for their own advantage, present things. This is why 2 people can read the same text or look at the same picture, and they will interpret it differently. They'll see it differently according to their conditioning and according to these faults of being prone to illusion, prone to cheating and being cheated. And every single human being on the planet, from time immemorial, is prone to make mistakes. We don't always get it right. And on top of all that, we have imperfect senses. We can't see everything clearly. We can't smell everything properly, and our minds and intelligence are limited. So on top of all that, we're also conditioned by the modes of nature. You're starting to get the picture. We're not, to think that we've got much to be proud of is an illusion. We're actually in a very much a suffering condition. We're suffering so many miseries due to past sinful activities and current sinful activities. We're conditioned by the modes of nature. We're prone to make mistakes. We're illusioned, and we're foolish. Why are we foolish? You say, well, I'm not foolish. I know what life is about. I know that we have to try and become Krishna conscious, and I'm doing the best I can. Why do you say I'm foolish? Because I was discussing this with someone else recently, another devotee, and we were talking about this verse, this Trinada Pisa Nichena, Taro Pisa Hishnuna, how you can give all respect to others. And the reality is, sure, we don't have any problem giving respect to someone that we see as more elevated. Someone who's more advanced. Yes, Prabhu, I can give respect. Some guru, some sannyasi, some grihasta, some brahmachari, whoever you think this is advanced devotee. I can bow my head like this, offer dandavats, no problem. What about the people who are less advanced? You have to offer all respect to everybody. What about the people who are not that interested in Krishna consciousness? What about the people who are sinful? Mahaprabhu's instruction is to offer all respect to everybody. So how can we be in that humble state of mind how can we understand, why do I need to give so much respect? I'm trying to be a devotee. I'm trying to do the right thing. These people, they're doing so many sinful activities and they're not interested in spiritual life. Why do I have to bow to them? So I was meditating on this and talking to one devotee, and I realized actually we can meditate. We are foolish. We are more foolish than these people, because these people are innocent. They're sinful but innocent. We have knowledge, and we have the incredible opportunity that Prabhupada has given us to take full advantage of Krishna consciousness, take full advantage and dive deep into the philosophy and the practical application of the philosophy in our lives, and fully surrender. Krishna says, Sarvadharmam parijajya mamikam saranam bhaja. Fully surrender to me. Do not worry. No fear. Nothing. You will come to me. But we muck around. We don't really believe that. We don't really surrender. So we're foolish because we've got the knowledge, and he's saying, surrender to me. Come to me. Finish. Material life finished. Bus. Come and enjoy spiritual world forever in bliss. No, I think not. I think I'll stay here a bit longer and just maybe, maybe not now, maybe later. So that's why we're foolish. These other people, they are innocent. They don't know this, so they're suffering. So and Bhaktivinoda Thakur prays like this also, that I'm the most, when we hear the acharyas say, I'm the most fallen, how can they think like that? How can they think that I'm the most fallen? Because Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains, I see devotees, they're chanting Hare Krishna, they're practicing Krishna consciousness. I know in my heart, I'm not fully surrendered. They're much more advanced than me. I see the materialists, they are following the external energy of the Lord. They're fully surrendered to the external. I'm not even interested in surrendering to the material energy, because I've got no interest in it. So they're more advanced than me. The demons, even they are getting liberated by Krishna, but I'm still stuck here in the material world. So this is a sign of deep humility, where you see everybody as being more advanced than you. Everybody is actually following Krishna except you. In a world, in a society, you can imagine where everybody has these qualities of humility. Imagine how sweet it would be when everyone is fully respectful to everybody and offering, and there'll be no conflict, because how can you offend someone who is feeling that they are, you become offended. Someone becomes offended due to pride, and pride is a symptom of ego. So if there's no pride, there's no ego, how can someone be offended? One example I'd like to give, I know we're running out of time, is, one example I'd like to give is the story of Rupa Narayan. He was a Brahmana, and he was very, very great scholar. This is in Mahaprabhu's time. And he was travel around the whole of Navadvip and all sorts, and all over India actually. And he was such a great scholar that he was defeating scholars. This is the practice of the day. They were very philosophical and very learned in their scripture, and they would defeat scholars. And he was so proud of his prowess as a scholar that he would, everyone that he defeated, he would get them to sign a document to say that they have been defeated by Rupa Narayan. So he heard that Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami were in Vrindavan. He knew they were great scholars, and he thought, if I can defeat these scholars and get them to sign this document, then I will be the greatest scholar in India, and I'll get so much fame, so much followers. And he was very proud of his knowledge. So he went to Vrindavan, and he found where Rupa and Sanatana Goswami were, and he challenged them to a debate. And he said, if I defeat you, then I would require you to sign this piece of paper to say that you've been defeated by me. And they said, where's the paper? Let me sign. Immediately, they said, I can't be bothered with this. I'm not interested to have some. I'll just sign your paper. Here we are. You've defeated me, no problem. So, of course, later on, this Brahmana, he was very proud. I've defeated Rupa and Sanatana. They were so afraid to debate with me that they signed it. Even they were scared to debate with me. Jiva Goswami, he heard this, and then he said he was disciple of Rupa and Sanatana, and he became disturbed by the fact that this Brahmana was gloating over how he had defeated Rupa, and he knew that it was impossible because they were the greatest devotees and Vaishnavas, and he understood that they didn't want to waste time with some debate like that, and they just had too much service to do, so they were get rid of him, sign his piece of paper. So he debated. He said, I challenge you. I will debate with you, and if I defeat you, then you must, renounce this because I'm a disciple of theirs. So anyway, so they debated for many days, and it was a very fierce debate. But in the end, the Brahmana, he admitted defeat, that Jiva Goswami was a far more learned scholar, and the conclusions of Vedanta and the conclusions of Bhakti that he presented were far deeper and far more thorough than what he had understood. So he actually then became a disciple also. So this, I'm using the story to highlight this sense of humility that Rupa and Sanatana Goswami they had, that actually they weren't concerned with pride, with fame, with adoration, with followers. That's not important. It's not important to have reputation. It's not important to have position. All these things are mundane things that no one, how many people, there's 7-8 billion people in the world now. They're all going to die. We're all going to die. How many of us will be remembered in 50 years, in 100 years, in 300 years, in 2,000 years, in 10,000 years? It's not that important. No, it's not there. Our position of fame or honor is very, very temporary, and it's all related to the body. So some of the benefits of humility that I noted down here. I know we're running out of time. We've got a few minutes. Yeah, it's okay. I can keep going. It's the foundation of all good qualities. So if you have a humble mood, we'll do this one. Okay, so it is from humility comes tolerance. If you're humble and accepting that you're tiny, that we're in suffering due to past sinful activities, and that we're actually very fortunate, and we need to be grateful for our good fortune, then you'll become very tolerant also, and you'll become very compassionate to the sufferings of others. If you have a mood of genuine humility or not wanting honor, then you'll be very willing to serve, because you'll see everyone is more advanced than you. You'll want to serve them. So you'll cultivate that mood of being willing to serve. And we're chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Please, Lord, please engage me in your service. Please engage me in your service. And then the service comes. Oh, Prabhu, no, I can't. I'm too busy. I've got so much to do. No, maybe someone else can do that. So actually, if you're humble, then then you're very willing to serve, because you know, I'm dependent upon service. I'm depending upon pleasing the devotees. I'm dependent upon pleasing the Vaishnava and the Guru. That mood will inspire you to want to serve. Your mind won't be disturbed. The mind is disturbed because of attachments. It's disturbed because of things relating to the body and the ego. So if you're in a humble state of mind, you're very peaceful, and your mind isn't so disturbed. You have a respectful mood to everybody. And this, as we heard from Lord Chaitanya's prayer, leads to an ability to sincerely chant and pray. When you're in a mood of bowing down and honoring others and respecting others and recognizing your own faults, your own anarthas, your own conditioning and your own attachments, then you can sincerely chant and pray. And this is what Lord Chaitanya says: when you have a humble state of mind and tolerant like a tree and respectful to others, then you can chant constantly, which means you're always remembering Krishna, which is the goal, so that when the time of death comes, you can go to Krishna. So it all comes from humility. This ability to sincerely chant and pray will lead to crying for the Lord. This is something we don't talk about so much, but this is what's required to get Krishna Prem, to get love for Krishna. We have to cry. We have to get to that point in our heart where we're calling out in a mood of crying. When you read Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's so much crying. They're always crying. When they see a devotee, they cry. When they see the Lord, they cry. When they go to the kirtan, they cry. When they're calling out, when they're having kirtan, they're crying. They're crying. There's torrents of tears that are washing all the time. So this is an important point. And if we're not crying when we're chanting, if we're not sincerely crying for the Lord, then we've got some work to do. We've got some work to do. And it comes from cultivating humility as a first step. By cultivating humility, you'll gain the mercy of the Lord and the Vaishnavas. Everybody is attracted to a humble devotee. They're very sweet. Nobody will find fault. Nobody will bother them. Nobody will criticize. It's someone who has humility is a very attractive personality. And I mean, example of Srila Prabhupada again, by his humility, he made so many disciples. People just, they may not have understood the philosophy or anything, but they just loved him. They just wanted to serve him. They just wanted to please him. And that mood of humility was very, very attractive. You will develop gratitude, which is an important aspect also of Krishna consciousness, is being grateful for everything that we are given. And there's so much that we could talk about gratitude. You'll be able to focus better, and your meditations will be clearer, because you'll have a more peaceful mind. You'll have a mood of gratitude and respect. You'll have greater tolerance, and you will not be so disturbed. So so it's well worth it. Yeah. So these are some of the notes I made about our position, and then there's another page after that. We've already talked about this. So more benefits of humility. It's the foundation of all good qualities. It is the first item required for knowledge. It's very difficult to, and it's impossible if you're proud. You cannot be given realized knowledge. It enables one to be fixed on our dependence on the Lord, and thereby chant more effectively and constantly. You cannot commit offenses if you're humble, because you're seeing everybody as being more advanced than you. And of course, we know that offenses to devotees are a big obstacle in our life. a big obstacle in our devotional life is described as being the mad elephant offense. So when you commit offenses to devotees, willingly or unwillingly, then you're basically crushing the creeper of devotion. So with a mood of humility, you avoid this very, very dangerous problem of committing offenses, because you're respectful to everybody, because you see everybody as more advanced, and you see everybody as being, you want to get their mercy, so you can't offend them. And if you're, another thing is, someone who is humble is attractive to Krishna. Krishna is all attractive, but he's attracted to the devotees, and you will attract friendly relationships with everyone with a mood of humility. I like the realization that if everybody was in this pure, humble state, then society would be very sweet. The problems that come and the confrontations that come within our daily lives, at work or at home or at the temple, wherever, the conflicts come due to lack of humility, basically, and lack of respect. There may be disagreements, but if there's humility and respect, then they're not confrontational. They're amicable disagreements. They're respectful disagreements. That's the same point. We have peaceful mind and no conflict in personal dealings, because the conflict comes from pride. I think I'm right. Atavat manyate jagat. I think I'm right, and because I think this way, I think you should think this way too. Everybody thinks they're right. Nobody has an opinion and thinks, oh, I've got an opinion, but it's wrong. Everybody thinks, I have an opinion and it's the right opinion. So, so humility. Yeah, so we've discussed all these things. I've pretty much covered most things. There was a few other points that I had. There's some nice articles that I found that address things like how humility actually boosts our self-esteem, because there's a misunderstanding that with humility you're putting yourself down. This is a misunderstanding, that humility means I'm useless, I'm hopeless, I'm no good, I'm bad, all these things. This is negative self-talk. That this isn't humility. This is actually false humility. There's that example where Prabhupada, one of his disciples, I can't remember who now, they were walking and they were discussing something, and the disciple said, "Oh, Prabhupada, I'm the most fallen. I really am the most fallen." And Prabhupada looked at him and said, "You're the most nothing," because he was proud of being the most fallen. So whatever you think, I'm the most this, I'm the most that, even if you think I'm the most fallen, in this case, on a pure, real humble platform from the Acharya, when the Acharyas are saying, I am the most insignificant and the most fallen, then they're meaning it. But when a conditioned soul is saying it, they're actually trying to get some recognition. I want to be recognized by Prabhupada by saying the right thing, by saying that I'm the most fallen. So Prabhupada completely saw through that motivation and said, "You're the most nothing." So this is a state of humility. That, yes, I'm the most nothing. So this idea that humility actually, it increases our sense of self-esteem, because when we are given honor, that increases our pride. It increases our identification with our bodies and our minds and our egos. But when we develop humility, we identify more as a soul in our connection with Krishna, and we don't need anything. We're not seeking any validation or gratification. We don't need to be honored. We don't need to be respected. We don't need to be glorified. We don't need any of these things to feel good. We're actually completely satisfied with our humble attempt to try and serve Guru and Krishna, and so we don't need any validation from anyone else, and so we're actually, our self-esteem, we're quite satisfied. So it's an interesting article. It's on there if anybody wants. There's a nice article that Urmila wrote also about humility that I read, and if anybody is interested, I can share the documents with you. There's another article about humility means to accept but not expect respect, and they're quite short articles. They're not long, but I'll leave it there. I think, Prabhu, I think I've talked more than enough, and if anybody has any questions or any comments or corrections or anything that may offer to help me in my spiritual life, I'd be very grateful.
Hare Krishna. Well, thank you very much for your nice realization. Yes, anyone like to ask a question, please? Feel free.
Thank you very much for your attention. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
No questions?
I've got a clarification. You very nicely covered, Prabhu, Rup Narayan's situation and Jiva Goswami going there and defeating him. And also then you talked about Prabhupada telling the devotee you are most of nothing. So in our in fact, you covered like that we are humble and the person who are talking to, he's also humble. That's how then it's reciprocates, and that's how we progress. So in our day-to-day thing, we try to be humble, but how do actually we understand the person whom we are talking to is also humble, and we should spend time with him?
So your question is, in our day-to-day dealings, when we may be trying to be humble with our dealings with people, but how can we understand that they are also humble? Is that your question? Well, first of all, I would say that your main concern is with you, so that you make sure that you are rightly situated. And if someone comes to you and they say, Prabhu, you are an idiot. You don't know anything. How do you react? You say, thank you, Prabhu. You reminded me. So the other person, they may not be humble. They may or may not be coming from this platform, but you always remain humble. If someone comes aggressive or challenging, then the first reaction is to try and defend your position. Someone accuses you of something that you haven't done. Someone misunderstands something you've said. First reaction is we try and correct them. We try and put them right. Okay, so this is normal. And so you have to assess the situation. And even if you do that, you do it in a respectful, humble way. And this is where Vaishnava etiquette is actually very important. And I found over the years, people become familiar, and sometimes the etiquette is lost. And I've realized recently that it's very, very important to keep when I was a brahmachari in the 80s, every time we saw a devotee, we would offer dandavat. Vanchakalpa jubascha kripasanyavepacha patitanam pavanibhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Because we didn't understand what we were doing, but that was what we were taught to do, you know. And now I understand. It develops this mood of respect. It develops the mood of humility towards devotees. And of course, this culture has been a little bit lost over the years. And now devotees, they see each other, hey Prabhu, and they give each other a hug, which is nice, it's familiar, but the etiquette is very important. And also, you know, addressing letters, Prabhupada always, he would always, please accept my blessings, but we always, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This etiquette is important. And one thing I like about going to India, I realize also, is that when you go to India, you're always on the ground, especially if you hang around the temple. You're always offering dandavats to devotees. You go in the temple, there's a, you know, before you get to the temple, there's, you know, Ganesh, you know, there's Shiva, you're bowing down, then you get in, there's Tulsi, and then there's, you know, so many deities, 3-4 deities. And then, you know, before I counted one time, before coming to the morning program, I think it was like 23 times that I had given dandavats before you even, you know, before the morning program was over. And I like that. It's because I like that feeling of bowing down and you know, the devotees that I've spoken to who have done a dandavat parigram around Govardhan Hill. It's such a nice thing to have your face in the dirt and offering, and your head on the dirt, offering respects to Govardhan, offering respects to the devotees. It's, I mean, the Goswamis did this. It's not like it's not for just, you know, materialists to do. This is the platform of humility, of and realizing that actually this is worshipable, and I am dependent upon the mercy of the devotees. So I don't know if I answered your question, but really the other person that you're talking to in your day-to-day dealings, I mean, we have dealings at work, in the office. We can't expect them to be humble. All we can do is try ourselves, and you'll find if you make an effort to give respect and cultivate this quality of humility, then your dealings with other people will become much sweeter, and the conflict resolution will be much easier. I've experienced this many times. You approach a conflict with humility and respect, it's immediately watered down. The intensity of the conflict is immediately watered down. I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question.
Thank you, Roger. Very nicely explained, Prabhu.
So we're all in this boat together, you know. Prabhupada's created this boat back to Godhead, and we're all on the boat, and we all have to actually help each other. We all have to, you know, see what we have in common, and what we have in common is a desire to be Krishna conscious, an appreciation and a love for Srila Prabhupada, and we're a family, and we have to try and in the differences that are there, the differences in mentality or they're small. The things we have in common are much greater. So and we have to work together and try and help each other, because on our own it's impossible. The modes of nature and our minds are just too strong. We need each other to make this journey.
Anybody else, please? You were trying.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept my humble obeisances.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, I had a question. Oftentimes it is misunderstood that being humble is being weak. You know, you can be taken advantage of. So, like, is this just a misconception, or like, how do we defend ourselves when we are trying to practice humbleness or humility?
Good question.
taking advantage of. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice question. When you were speaking, I was I was thinking, is Srila Prabhupada humble? Undoubtedly, yes. Is Srila Prabhupada weak? No. he is lion. He is fearless, and he was uncompromising. Right? He had full faith in Krishna, and he was strong. He wasn't weak. He wasn't going to get walked over by anybody. So, and he wasn't going to compromise for anyone. And so, but he was humble. So yes, it's a misconception that humility is weakness. Humility is a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness where you're fully aware of your dependence and your tininess. So you are, because of that, and because of your connection to Krishna, you feel protected. So you have full strength. You're not weakness. You may feel weak because you think that you are the controller, or you're because you are. Everything is dependent upon you. Then, if you're humble, then you'll be exploited, taken advantage of, right? If someone, this is the misunderstanding, that if you are humble and meek, then you will be taken advantage of. But if you understand that Krishna is the controller, and he is your friend, then how can anyone take advantage of you that he's not aware of? Okay, so there's the story of the king, and he had the servant Belvedere, and they were Belvedere was a very annoying servant, because he would say to the king, every time the king would say something, he would say, whatever Krishna does, it's okay. Whatever Krishna arranges is okay. So one day the king, he chopped his finger off. And so he said, Belvedere, I've chopped my finger. And he says, whatever Krishna does, it's okay. And he said, well, what are you talking about? I've chopped my finger off. And he sent him to prison. You go to prison. I don't want you anymore. This Krishna nonsense is too much. So we got another servant. Then they went out in the forest, and they got ambushed by some Kali worshippers, and they were looking for some sacrifice. So they captured them. The other servant, he managed to get away. He ran away. And then they captured the king, and they were going to sacrifice him to Kali. And then just before they sacrificed, they saw, oh, he has one finger missing. We can't sacrifice him. He's not complete. Kali won't accept. So they let him go. So he went back to the palace, and he said, Belvedere, I understand. I understand now. Everything Krishna does is all good. Everything Krishna does is okay. If I hadn't have chopped my finger, I would have been sacrificed. And then Bhagavad said, yes, and if you hadn't have sent me to prison, then I would have gone with you and they would have captured me. So, so in this way, someone who is humble, they see everything as being the will of the Lord, which is actually the reality. There's nothing outside of that. So there's no question of them being exploited. Like the Pandavas had, just because, and Queen Kunti, Draupadi, they had so many problems. You know, they were intimate associates of Krishna, but it wasn't that they didn't have problems, but every time there was a problem, every time they were tried to be killed or exploited or taken, had their kingdom taken away, had their house set on fire, banished to the forest, so many inconveniences, but they didn't ever think, what is this? I'm surrendered to Krishna and I'm getting so many problems. No, they accepted, this is the will of the Lord. This, for some reason, I don't know, I'm staying with Krishna anyway. Yeah. And so ultimately, Arjuna on the battlefield also, he came to the conclusion of not fighting, but when he inquired with humility and submissiveness and Krishna instructed him, he agreed to fight. Not because he wanted to fight, but he wanted to please Krishna, and Krishna wanted him to fight. So this is the ultimate end of knowledge, and the ultimate end of the result of a humble attitude, is that you will get knowledge and that you will get wisdom, and that wisdom culminates in devotional service and surrendering to Krishna and acting in ways to please him. And you're not dependent on whatever, you're not attached to the result, good result, bad result. You're just doing what you need to do to do your service. And so there's no question of being exploited or taken advantage of or being weak, because you are protected. Krishna will protect you. And it's not up to your own endeavors to protect you. You can't do that.
So just
Prabhupada wasn't weak. Prabhupada was humble, but not weak. No one can say Prabhupada was weak. And he was never exploited or taken advantage of, not once. Prabhu?
Sorry, I thought you'd finished saying. So just only a devotee of Krishna who accepts Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only he can be humble?
No. According to Prabhupada's definition, is someone who is not seeking honor, or is not anxious to receive honor, is his definition of humility. And there are examples of that. Actually, I gave you one example there from a Christian priest from the 16th century. It was a nice...
Sorry, I meant to say, sorry, I'll just correct this. Yeah, Krishna conscious or God conscious is what I meant to say.
Yeah. Well, Prabhupada's definition also is that there are only two classes of men. There are devotees and there are demons. So there may be nice people who are, pious, religious, but if they're not devotees, then by devotees I mean they are surrendered to God, they are trying to become God conscious, then Prabhupada classifies them as demons, because they are actually, their motivation in their life is to actually enjoy separately from God. So however many good qualities or nice qualities that may seem that they have, their underlying motivation is to enjoy. So for example, I can give the example of yoga practitioners. So two people may be practicing yoga. One person is understanding the purpose of yoga is to unite with the divine consciousness and unite with and reestablish hatha yoga is a step towards controlling the mind so that they can develop their lost and forgotten relationship with the Lord. And so they're practicing yoga with that motivation. Someone else is practicing yoga so that they can get a fit and healthy body so that they can enjoy sense enjoyment. So the motivation is different. And so they may both develop good skills in yoga, but because of the motivation behind it, they will get a different internal result. Externally, they're both practicing yoga and doing their downward dogs or whatever, but internally they get a different result because of the motivation that's there. So somebody may be humble externally, they have some good sattvic qualities, but because if they're not devotees, if they're not God conscious or trying to be God conscious, then this quality is, they may be humble, but it's practically useless for them. It has no real advantage to be humble or no real benefit to them. The benefits that I described here are all related to helping us to re-establish our forgotten relationship with Krishna. So, yeah, so they can be humble, but there's no real benefit for that, for someone who isn't trying to be Krishna conscious. It may lead them to good association. It may help them develop some sattvic qualities, but that's about it, as far as I understand.
Thank you, Vibhuji. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So with this now, we come to the conclusion of our second session today and the whole day's program. So thank you very much once again to Buddhimanta Prabhu for your time and for your nice realizations. This certainly helped us and will help us keep coming. Because it's very important to understand from different devotees, hear from different devotees. So you get different angles, different knowledge, which is great. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ambarish. Thank you very much, Prabhus. Hare Krishna. All glories to Prabhupada.
Jai Shri Prabhupada. Now we'll finish our program with our 3-minute prayer as we usually do. And we meet next week, same time, same place. And I'll email you with the topics and all that. I'll message you on our WhatsApp. So whose turn is it today for singing?
Arnav?
Arnav. Is Arnav around?
Yes, Prabhuji, he's around, but he's not ready. He doesn't want to sing.
Oh, he doesn't want to sing. My God. That's not good. Okay. Navina, how about Navina then? Anisha, you have to work on him, right? Nicely, politely. It's a privilege to sing. It's a great privilege to sing.
Sorry, Prabhuji, she is sleeping. Full asleep.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Subhadra can sing.
Subhadra can
Oh,
sing.
wonderful. Let's start with her. No problem. It's a bit late to understand. So it's about
She's
3
wake
minutes,
up now.
more than 3 minutes, and we'll do with some actions also. This is what Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj had instructed before departing, that you must sing this small 3-minute prayer. Okay.
Start, Sumi.
Maharaj, please hear us.
Maharaj, please hear us.
We have learned some real good stuff.
We have learned some real good stuff.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
Maharaj, we have learned one thing.
And today for you we will sing.
And today for you we will sing.
If our room is clean,
If our room is clean,
then our mind is clean.
then our mind is clean.
If our mind is clean,
Is clean.
we will do anything. If our room is dirty, then so are we.
So are we.
If we are dirty, we're not happy.
Happy.
Wasting time
Wasting time
is the greatest crime. Because wasted time means a wasted mind.
a wasted mind.
So best is your time
So best use your time
when you're in your prime.
when you're in your prime.
And your whole life
And your whole life
will be sublime.
will be sublime.
If your wealth is gone,
If your wealth is gone,
there's nothing wrong.
there is nothing wrong.
But if your health is gone,
If your health is gone,
that's a different song.
that's a different song.
But if your
Character.
character dies,
But if your character dies,
then the world will cry.
then the world will cry.
Only saintly behavior,
Only saintly behavior
that's a man of 3 thrive.
lest humanity thrive.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We must always remember Krishna.
We must always remember Krishna
And never forget him too.
and never forget him too.
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
That is the greatest question.
That is the greatest question.
And here's the greatest clue.
And here is the greatest clue.
You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
So listen very closely.
So listen very closely
And make your thinking sharp.
and make your thinking sharp.
Let's learn how we can live in work so Krishna won't depart.
Let's learn how we can live with what so Krishna won't depart.
If something due tomorrow,
If something's due tomorrow,
finish it today.
finish it today.
Whatever's today,
Whatever's due today,
do it now, don't delay.
do it now, don't delay.
Your friends might be lazy
Your friends might be lazy or doing bad things,
but you think again.
Don't follow them,
You will win the end.
and you will win in the end.
Whatever work we given,
Whatever work we given,
we do our very best.
we do our very best.
We only live with what we need and Krishna the rest.
We only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
This is how to live, to work and to play.
This is how to live, to work and to play.
You learn to live this way, you'll see Krishna every day.
You learn to live this way, you will see Krishna every day.
So when your time is up, he'll take us up above. We'll sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
And when our time is up, he'll take us up above. Sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
So chant Krishna's name, his glories and his friends. He's only in this world who can never become saints.
So chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame. It's the only way this world will ever become saint.
Now please ask this greatest question.
Now please ask this greatest question
And find this greatest clue.
and find this greatest clue.
You can only remember Krishna.
You can only remember Krishna
If Krishna remembers you.
if Krishna remembers you.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai
Jai.
Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, Srila Gurudev ki Jai.
Jai.
Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Anta Koti Vaishnavenda ki Jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande.
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much once again to Buddhimanta Prabhu. And thank you very much to all the wonderful devotees. We'll see you, Krishna willing, next week, same place, same time. Stay safe, stay healthy, and chant Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare